Hey guys, Coach Red 412 here. Let's talk about my newest purchase, this Chinese-made T53. What this is essentially is a Chinese-made M44 carbine clone. They were made in the 1950s. They started in 53. The last production date was 1960, and they were actually made with equipment given to the Chinese by Russia. They actually brought the machinery in by train, they brought spare parts, and they made these for a handful of years. Actually, they didn't make them in tremendous numbers, so these are, at least in my opinion, a little bit on the collectible side, because they didn't make the numbers that the Russians made. So this, I think, is a very good investment for people who are looking to own, either expand on their Mosin Nagant collection, or are just looking for a nice beater gun. These things come now, when you find these in the stores, you're going to find them in conditions ranging from like horrible to near perfect. And you're going to find ones with matching numbers, not matching numbers, all different conditions, shapes, and price ranges, because there's such a wide variety of them out there. There are quite a few of them that have actual Russian parts that are mixed in with the Chinese-made parts. Some of them are all Chinese. You know, you never know what you're gonna get with a T53. So as you can see, this is pretty much an M44 clone. Has the affixed bayonet. If you were to line them up, you really couldn't tell any difference between the two of them, with the exception of the wood for the stock. Now, as you can see, I got this zoomed in on the wood here. The wood is very pitted and it is in pretty rough shape. The Chinese used a very different wood from the Russians. It was something because in Southeast Asia there's really more kind of wet environments, and they really wanted something that was going to hold up to jungle conditions. They used a different wood. However, it just, it didn't stand the test of time like the Russian versions did. So, but that's one of the beauties of these rifles. They're cheap, they're inexpensive. You can buy 5 of them, and you can keep a couple for collector's value, and you can sporterize or restore them. There's quite a few million made, so you're not really doing the world a great disservice if you refinish the stock on one of these. So what are they? We know they're the original design for the M44 came from the Russians, World War II era bolt-action rifle, meant for kind of, street combat kind of thing. Shorter version of the 9130. The M44s are pretty tough to come by nowadays, and the prices have gone up quite a bit. So these T53s are actually a great pickup if you do really like the M44, and there's just not one available. Now mine here has it's a 1955. I'll show you that stamping. So I got some pliers holding it up for you guys. It's a 1955, and they come just like the Mosin Nagants. They come stamped with all the dates and all that on them. They're stamped on the actual receiver itself, on the bolt back here, on the bolt face, on the magazine well underneath, and the butt plate. So there are 4 places they're stamped. This one, 3 of them are the same, and 1 is different. And that other stamping's right there, actually. They come with the normal, affixed bayonet that the M44 does. Price range on these, if you actually look on forums and read about this rifle, you'll actually see that there are people selling these for $35 back about like 6, 7, 8 years ago on the internet. But they were in horrible condition, and people were buying them and restoring them. Of course, this one here has a very good bore. The bore looks very clean. The crown looks pretty good on the end. Everything about it functionally looks good, so I'm hoping this will be a decent shooter. But I haven't had a chance to shoot it yet, just got it. But even then, I hate to share too much about my experiences with surplus rifles, because you can buy 10 surplus rifles and have 5 of them be, great shooters, and the other 5 can be garbage shooters. There's really no way to predict how good or how bad, because these things were built during wartime and mass production, and they were not meant for the civilian market. So accuracy on them can be, iffy from time to time. So prices on these, You used to be able to get them for 35 bucks. Now the cheapest I see them is like 75 to 100 for the really beat up ones. Up to, I've seen really good condition ones with matching numbers going for like $300 and $400 a piece. My plans with this is, this is going to be a beater gun. I really wanted to get another M44, just can't afford to get one. So I picked this sucker up, and it's just going to be a nice little beater, because as you can see, the stock is already in a pretty grotesque shape. You can see there's a little rot, little wear and tear. However, the metal's really good. If you actually look, the bluing on the metal is actually pretty good. So I'm going to polish up the bolt a little bit, clean it up real good, get the rest of the cosmoline off it. As you can see, there's only a couple of chips in the stock. That's it. Other than that, it's actually in really great condition. It's got a terrific bore. Maybe a little bit of cold blue on it, and this thing will be actually, almost good as new. So, we all know the Mosin Nagant. We're familiar with them. They're one of the most popular rifles out there. The ammo is cheap. It's kind of in between like a 308 and a 30-06. So it is a pretty good high-powered round. You can use it for hunting, self-defense, shit hits the fan, you name it. So overall, these T53s are a cool little thing. The only issue is there's not a tremendous amount of info out there about them. Like most Chinese countries, most communist countries, the Chinese did not keep very good records at all. So there's really not accurate numbers in regards to production and how rare these things really are. Furthermore, a lot of people, there's always been a feeling over the years that these things were junk, that they were just pieced together kind of Franken rifles and not to bother with them. So they've gotten a lot of bad press over the years, but there are a lot of people out there who do have them and do have really good examples that shoot really good and are well worth the money. Now we're going to wrap up real quick because I hear the baby starting to cry in the background. But so like I said, T53, nice little investment for the money, cheap way to own a piece of military history, great overall thing. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with this gun eventually. I'm going to do, I think, a series on the Mosin Nagant, being we have the assault weapon ban here in New York and the magazine limit coming up shortly. I'm going to be focusing a lot on the surplus rifles in the future, and overall, like working with them and doing upgrades on them and caring for them, cleaning for them, all that kind of stuff coming up. One thing I do want to share as well is I did play around with this a little bit, and this T53 actually has a substantially better trigger than my 9130 and my M44. It's actually a really light trigger, probably about 4.5 pounds off the top of my head, but really good quality. Really happy with the purchase, and I paid about $2.25 for this, which is kind of a lot, but this is New York State. Gun prices are extraordinarily high here, so don't think you're going to run into one at this price all over. But these are kind of tough to come by. You don't see them every day, and oftentimes you may see these mislabeled as M44s. And the best way to find, to check, of course, is that they are going to have Chinese label or Chinese numerals on the top. Once we focus here, you see the Chinese numerals there above the 1955. Let's see if we can get that to focus. We're not going to focus, so you can see them as I move it. But there we go. There we go, guys. You can see the Chinese numerals on there. That's your sure way to tell that it is, of course, a M44. The M44s were not built in the 50s anyway, so perfect way to find out. Overall, really cool. Love this gun, guys. Hope you enjoy. I'll be doing some more videos on it down the line.